Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to start now sharing my screen so we can then begin. And welcome everybody. Another webinar for Business Central we have now. And today we're going to check how to import data. I don't know if you have ever wondered how you could do that, how to have, let's say, new chart of accounts, how to create maybe a company. Actually, we just have checked a few of these topics, but let's just go now into, let's say, yeah, I would like to add a new account. I can add it manually, of course. If you want new customers or new vendors, well, there is specific information we can actually create with specific tools, let's say, to import multiple records, right? This is one of my vendors. And of course, yes, we can see that, and we need to understand in order to import data, it depends what type of data we import. I would like to speak about that we have master data, like the vendor card, but then later we have the transactions. Like in this case, you can see my balance. This is the debt. I need to pay this amount to this vendor. And this might have come with the combination of purchases with returns or credit memos. In the end, I need to pay this amount. This is what we call then open documents, right? Let me just give you an insight, or maybe you already understand all of this, that if you already work with Business Central, you have your invoices, but maybe you want to import from another system, things like that, right? So here I have plenty of different invoice documents with their document number, and well, we would need then to have this in Business Central. Each document has different amounts and so forth, right? So let's just speak about the methods that we can use. If I, for instance, create a new vendor manually, right? This is going to offer to me, I have a template. What it means is that because all our vendors, of course, have different fields that represent different type of information, like for instance, coming back to the master data, we have one vendor number, the description, and well, the general information for the address and the contact that you see here. All of this information could be just basically imported, and other Business Central or system fields that we are going to need in the end, like what type of vendor this vendor is. And this is because, let me just give you a brief example, at least with vendors. Well, these type of fields are necessary because some of them are technical or require additional functionality. Like if I add a currency code for this vendor, well, it might require additional calculations. So I purchase in one currency, but my company could be in another, what we call local currency. So we are going to need that, right? And then another type of this type of functionality fields that we are going to require will be the vendor posting group. Whenever I create a vendor, I need, so to speak, to understand that I would group these vendors. So I have domestic vendors for purchases and foreign vendors for items that are purchased from abroad. But behind these specific fields, I need to recognize maybe different accounting processes or things like that, right? So there are plenty of different fields like this that require a previous setups for us in the system to work normally. But in the end, I just want to know if this vendor is going to be a foreigner or a domestic vendor, okay? Or if I'm going to work with local currency, just to mention, in this case, the field must be blank to work with your currency that you use normally in your company. So, well, basically those fields need to be set up one by one, right? So the idea here is that we might just need something to help us, and this is basically the vendor templates that I'm actually just showing. And the idea is that we are going to be able to indicate that specifically for vendors, we are going to be able to create let's create a new template so I don't have to fill all that information at every time that I create a new vendor. So why not to say, okay, this is going to be a normal vendor for the company, business to business vendor. Okay, that means that for me, at least in my company, with this vendor template, I'm gonna have different fields that I can pre-fill. For instance, they are all from the USA, right? So my company is located in the USA, and I have my different warehouses in different states, right? But all of them are here in the USA. Why not then to create a new template with a specific city only, all right? A specific zip code only. And if that works for you, you can start filling this information. So when you create a new vendor and you select the actual template that you create, well, these fields will be populated already. So another thing that I have here, when I create a vendor, a company, well, all of them will be domestic naturally for this type of logic in this company, right? And the local currency is just blank, meaning that, well, this local vendor, generally speaking, they will have the same currency that I actually have locally, okay? No problem. And then, well, there are other fields. Just wanted to show you, for instance, for vendors, one important field is the payment terms. So, well, my local vendors normally negotiate with me to pay in 1 month, okay? And well, so that will be basically the idea of the vendor template. And then once you create those, let me just show you, that exists as well for customers. Let me just... As well, I have indicated to Business Central in this case that I want to create a vendor from scratch without using the template. So just to mention, this information is optional for you when you want to have it, and well, your employees or by yourself want to facilitate your date or this process, at least to create vendors in a more easier way. Okay, and guess what? The thing here is that this specification for fields that are normally used would be very useful for us when we import data. And that's one way of importing information. Let me explain this further. We have the same templates for, let's say, customers and for items, customer templates. So when we create a new template, this is going to be as well a different type of customers that we can create, or companies or persons. But for me, they are local. At least, well, I'm going to be able to say I have different type of customers. Yes, some of them will be very large for wholesaling activities, and all others will be just persons. Okay, simple as. But anyway, the idea here is that I will be using specifically these additional templates in order to create, well, more in an easier way, master data, okay? So this same happened for items, okay? If I just go to items, if you want to implement them, let me just show you some basic information. And we are installing this because later we are going to use Excel to import data. Let me go to an easy item to understand. Coca-Cola, okay, Coca-Cola. Let's just check some information that we are going to need here, and then we're going to check the template. Every time I create an item, I'm going to need what we call an SKU, and then I will need a general description that is very related to the actual small unit with unit cost, right? Because later as well, I could add pallets or 6 packs, okay, things like that. But even if I want to have multiple units of measures, because that's possible to have, well, anyway, this is the item I'm talking about, okay? I want to create the bottle item, and then later, well, we're going to have a base unit of measure, right? So that's why the base unit of measure is always related to this small item that I have in the picture and related to the description. This could be as well a category that is not actually beer. I will change it to drinks maybe, okay? And once we change it, well, this is helping me maybe for a replenishment or for sales reports. Okay, so item categories help me to do additional work with this item when I want to purchase, sell it, replenish, a physical count. Let's just physically count all the drinks or all the beverages at once. So voila, if you classify it, it's going to help a lot. Okay, other type of fields that will be important, the costing method, okay, will be FIFO. FIFO is generally speaking a way to say, I understand that my vendors always increase the price. So I need to always continue verify that inbound, okay, and or when I receive from my vendors, I need to cost. And I'm going to see that the cost is going to always increase, right? So I want to get all these costs, okay? So I'm going to then input a price for this item. So this will be the first in, first out concept. So if I purchase this specific item at specific cost, let me see the oldest one. It's actually $1 only, okay? So I can see that, well, last year, this was the unit cost, this was the quantity that I purchased by that time. Here you can see the actual name of the transaction that I did, right? So if I want to work with this functionality, you can see that I was super cool. Well, in the end, I would need to then sell this item. Okay, so I would then pick the very first cost of $1, then to the input a price, then you choose your price. In this case is 1.20, right? So that's somehow a way of costing my items with the oldest records. And with the time, of course, I'm going to notice that the cost is going to be increasing. So I'm going to understand that I need to change my price, let's say on a monthly basis at least, right? Because I'm going to then purchase by the lowest, and then I'm going to have increase of the price in the end, no matter what. Otherwise, I'm going to start losing money, okay? Last, just to mention, right, because I need, the idea is not to explain all these fields, but in this case for items, this will be super important, right? These are basic records that Business Central has, not only FIFO, but others. A LIFO will be for sometimes instances like chemicals, specific will be for, I don't know, jewelry, when you need to set up the actual cost, average. Let's say I will be purchasing plenty of different items at once in lots. Well, when I manage lots, and lot meaning is the meaning of maybe when I purchase food and beverages that have expiration date. So I will be purchasing the lot that will be having an expiration date of 1 week, right? But I need to measure that to be able to sell first that lot, and then later the other one that will be coming later. Well, I would strongly recommend then to use averages, right? The standard will be more for a planification, like it's so complex to cost. So with experience of the manufacturing manager, we are going to be able to planify properly the cost. Okay, and in order to plan in advance how much an item costs, I will then need the standard costing method. But the idea of this type of fields is that you see that it's just a list, okay? I cannot come, and if there are other costing methods and they actually exist, well, I can use only the ones that I have here that Business Central currently calculates behind the scene for you within the inventory module functionality. So when I create an item, sometimes I need to understand, of course, I'm going to need a costing method, but just select one of these, okay? Just so I can see how to import data, whatever you want to import, right, to understand your own information. And according to this, for instance, this has taxes, of course, right? So we call it the tax group in this instance for materials, but I have for labor and I have non-taxable and other examples. So whatever you see that it was already configured for you would be important whenever we start importing information, well, to consider what information you have in each of the fields that you have. So in order to import, we are also speaking about check your master data, check which fields are necessary and why they are necessary, right? So let's just stick with items. I like it because it has plenty of different fields that we can use. So I know that behind the scene as well, there are mandatory fields, of course. Without them, your record won't be able to be used. Like in this example, the base unit of measure. If we don't have for items, and I'm explaining this because it's easy to understand, if we don't have this specific information, we are not going to be able to purchase or to sell it or to make inventory adjustments, right? So we have a full list of records for different unit of measures, okay? And guess what? The unit of measure, well, is basically a way that I need to first import my unit of measures, like this one that I have with a 6Ks, 8Ks, bottles in this case. Well, I'm going to then be able to generate items only when I have my unit of measures, okay? So there's as well some logic behind the scene. And this is one example that I would then have. In order to be able to import items, I always would need to have first my base unit of measure catalog. Okay, that's good because we are going to use that information. And don't forget that whenever I create a new item, I as well have templates. Like I explained for vendors and and now for items, okay, we can create a template to make our life easier, and some of this information, some of these fields are going to be pre-populated or pre-filled for us, okay, whenever I create this new item. Let's just then do one review of what Business Central, now we more or less understand these general ideas, right? Generally speaking, there will be fields that are just free text. Some of them are numbers. Some of them are coming from a catalog that I previously configured and so on, right? But basically with that, review this general information, and then I'm going to show you the tools that we can use to import data. The first one will be coming from my assisted setup. By the way, we actually record all our webinars, so you can then come and review the information and do exactly the same, follow the steps and make it for you, because these are trainings, not only webinars, but as well and then later, just to mention, these are real tools that we use. For instance, for me as a consultant, I use them for implementations, okay? Just to mention it. Okay, and the assisted setup, once you find that, okay, we have different type of functionality that we then, let's say, configure, okay, by manually, but sometimes these are going to be helpful to then have, so to speak, like a tool that is going to help me in this instance to import data. And here is get ready for business. In this section, we are going to be able to see different ideas like migrate business data. This is the one that we are going to use. Set cloud migration as well. And from here, we would be, if you are in Business Central on premise and if you want to go on the cloud, then this tool is going to help me to migrate data. This is predefined to then help me to work and give me a tool to work faster when I want to migrate. But let's just check it how it helps me, right? So I'm going to then just basically click on migrate business data and just mention it what the assisted setup is. It's a full set of different tools to help me to do specific functions. And even you can go and explore some other ideas that we have here. But for us, the migrate business data tool is the data migration tool, basically. Okay, from here we could open an extension management. This is quite technical, but there are plenty of other tools in the market to import data, let's say directly from GP, from QuickBooks, from others, right? And then that data migration tool is basically telling me from where you're going to be importing data. In this case, this could be from Excel or QuickBooks Online or import from QuickBooks, okay? So this is kind of useful, okay? So let's just try it. I want to import for now from Excel. So I'm going to indicate that this is the way I want to import information to Business Central. It's going to be very easy now. So this data migration tool is explaining me the general concept of instructions, right? This will be working with Excel. Then you're going to be filling your own data within that file that I'm going to give you. And then important, okay, then you can change what you want to import in your settings just in case. And then the last step will be, now that we run this tool, to then upload your data. So let's just explore this information. First of all, I would like to, let's say, download the template, but as well, it told me in the general instructions that I could verify what to import. Okay, so let's go to the settings where I was instructed to review this information to import data. So this is about customers, this is about vendors, and the item tempo. So don't forget that in this case, this is called RapidStart. It's different type of tools that programmers have gave us, and this will be only for the basics, okay? But from here, we could import a lot of different information to Business Central, but this data migration tool will be covering only just to begin, because I'm learning how to import data. My default vendors, let's say, hey, do you remember the templates that I explained you before? Okay, so here you would need to set up the vendor for the domestic. In this case, I show you in this webinar what type of fields at least I have in my company. I have domestic and foreign vendors, at least here. So if you have a template like this, please input that information here. The same for customers and the same for items. Generally speaking, what I'm trying to tell you is guiding you to use this tool, but you will be in charge of selecting which fields you need to have, in this case, for your own templates. So these use the templates. So the templates, once again, help us to create a vendor, customer, or items with pre-filled information, okay? So that basically would be it. Let's just select what type of vendors in this round I'm going to be importing, and I selected already that I will be importing only domestic because it uses templates. But in the second round, I could go and import foreign vendors, and I just need to change here in the settings of the data migration tool, well, the actual template that I need, okay? With this, I'm going to get specific information different from domestic, of course, okay? So let's just come back to domestic just to give a very fast example. And with this, once I have selected, this is telling me that, well, once I specify my import settings, well, I want to then download the template to Excel. Let's just verify. So when I click on the download template, coming from the data migration tool, is going to generate immediately for you this Excel file that it's called data import, opening data import, right? And it's going to be very easy for you to use. Let me just give you the first example. The thing here is that I'm going to enable editing. Okay, this is the file that I actually just got. So this as well gave me GL accounts just in case you want to import them. Okay, look at this. Now I have customers, and here I have different worksheets. So of course, the vendor or items. Okay. So with this in mind, you will need only to make it feasible to work. Let me just go to the vendors, which looks shorter as well. A number, a name, a search name. So this will be vendor number 1. This will be Optimus, and the OPT for the search name. Address is in, let me just give you Sesame Street. Number 1. Right, and so forth. So with this, the idea is that you are going to be able just to come into I'm going to make an error by itself, even as a city that doesn't exist, XXX, okay? A state, Florida, okay? Zip code, country, region code. This is going to be for the US, okay? Contact will be Noé. Well, the idea is that we just fill this information. This was a domestic group. Okay, so verify with one test, just like I'm doing. I inputted one error, by the way, and another one here. Why not? Just XX. This doesn't mean anything. Okay, so and this will be happening to you all the time. Okay, the very first times that we want to import data, we might do mistakes that we want to verify. So with this in mind, I just need to save my file here. Okay, and you continue, well, of course, inputting additional records. With this, I will try then, let's say, to go and import my file. This is then going to give you the chance to open from your own computer any given file, like in my instance where I have my data import, okay, that I have actually just created by this time. This is Mexico time, 9:27, and then I'm going to open it. Once that is selected, this is going to start checking your data, if it's good, bad, if you have errors and so forth, right? But the idea, this first exercise is to tell you that within the Business Central technology, we have a way to import information. This is basically telling me, okay, what you have imported as well, verify that the number of records are correct, because this was only one. Okay, so no missing information, that's fine. And what happened then? This will be giving you the actual total of records that you will be importing. And if you want to import all of them at the same time, or just like with my instance or with my example, only the single vendor that I want to import. So I just need to click on migrate after I have done my selection with the vendor, right? And guess what? Some of the fields will not be applied because errors were found in the imported data. Do you want to continue? No, of course not. In this case, I won't be able to continue. Okay, so in this case, only the persons who actually know what they're doing, for instance, within my record, something was not okay. I know it, we know it in advance. So this will be, let's say, help only for not to only beginners, but let's say that within the people that always create your vendors, your customers, your, well, whatever, right, your items, they need to understand what they are doing. If I, for instance, don't know what is a city, okay, it might be better if I don't include it, maybe for the importing process. But here, well, I know that I have a field that is super important, general business Boston group, and I inputted XXX. That's why I have an error. So we need to take care of this type of information. Let me just go back 1 second to the vendor card to be able what this field with error that I have here is, like general business posting group with XXX. What type of information I need here? Let's just come back a little bit to the vendor card, because I don't even remember. I don't know what that is about, right? Oh, sorry. And then I will need to verify. This will be happening all the time to you whenever you try to import with this tool, all right? And then I would like to see that specifically general business posting group. That specific field is about, here is, okay. I need to input either only domestic or foreign, okay. And with this, if I check my own record, I have XXX. So that's why I have an error. It's no problem. I know that this is domestic. It's just that while I was copy pasting from my other system, I had this simple mistake, and that's normal. Don't worry about it. Now, but this is just for the easy type of data to import. So we will need just to verify once again. Okay, I have my name, I have my search name, no problem, the address, state. Let's take a look because I don't remember. And we have some specific nomenclature for the states. Let me just take a look at how to write Florida, okay? Because that will be as well, so to speak, yeah, important, okay? So the city or the state is GA in this case. So I don't see any problem if I input FL as well. No, I don't see any issue. But what happened with the zip code? Okay, the zip code, if I want to input information like this, oh no, I have only a specific list of records that include a zip code, a city, and a country and a state. Okay, so that would be important to verify when I import vendors. Only that. You don't have to do anything else. It's just one example of the basic process when we import data. So let me just copy some of this. Let's say these guys will be in state Georgia, according to this postcode. Okay, 31772. Okay, 31772. The state will be, and the city is Atlanta, sorry. And then the state will be here, Georgia. And for me, the zip code will be 31772. Okay, nothing else to add, right? The country is US. I can see the countries as well. This could be USA, maybe your company. Okay, that's why I'm giving you these steps, even though this is not the funniest part, but this is basically the idea of correcting errors, and it's going to happen the very first times you want to actually do this information. Okay, and then, well, once we have corrected this, I don't see any error so far. This is very basic. The idea is, okay, give me your name, give me your address, give me, well, this type of information, generally speaking, check your company, what type of information you have, or an email if you need it, all right, nothing else. So with this is the first time we import with RapidStart some records. And once again, this assisted setup is only and mainly for these records that are easy to import, like this one, okay? Once you get properly your information, it's gonna be fine. Nothing else to say. So from now on, I will be going to different websites. The same will be happening, of course, with items, okay? Whenever you want to import them. And then we are gonna be able to, let me just close this for a second. Gonna be able to import this way simple information, okay? Not complicated yet. We need to understand that if we have an errors, or if we have errors, well, these type of scenarios will happen, okay? I have reopened my data migration, and then I'm going to then once again choose a file. Nothing complicated at this point. Come back to my same file that I have corrected and continue with the process, okay? So that is basically the import, the data migration assistant. And then if I just migrate information, this is only once I get G account, customer, vendors, okay? And this will validate that these basic fields are already there until you get this information. I have process one table, 0 error found, that's fine. That's exactly what I wanted to have, and this is then what I'm going to show you now. So make some initial reviews of your information, what fields are necessary, try and test it, and see if that is just basically helpful for you, okay? So with this, we're gonna get additional information. I have a one vendor with this specific info, and this is fully functional. How I know that this is already going to be able to work? Well, because in advance, I have to create this specific template. Whenever you want local vendors, create your own template with, like in my example, with the specific information, and voila, Business Central is going to validate the mandatory fields. So at this point, we are just working with the assisted setup, and you need to understand that it works with the mandatory fields only, okay? Of course, there will be plenty of other information that you might need to import. I'm not saying that this is all. This is not even RapidStart. This is just for us to tell you, okay, you can use it to migrate vendors that or in this case, right, coming from another database, or create your new ones, coming and using the template part that only fills mandatory information for you, like this example, okay? All of these fields that I have created here are mandatory for me, okay? And even the currency, but I just left it blank in this instance, okay? So that's it. So what happened then later when you ask me, right? I need to do something more advanced. This was just so basic for just few very generic information. Okay, I understand that it works, but it's so generic, I will try it, but I want something more because I need to decide sometimes. Okay, but with the same basic idea of understanding what you are importing, well, we are gonna just follow the next exercise, creating packages, configuration packages, okay? So like myself, just go and look for package or packages, right? But look for the configuration packages option. Even you can bookmark it. If you click on this icon that is now green, is going to be then added immediately to your main menu. So you don't have to remember everything at the same time. These small steps are important, right? Because you need to remember what you're looking for. And then I'm going to be able to use these packages. Packages is because, well, these are packages that I will be creating an Excel, right, from scratch. I have created one for items, one for my basic basic setups, another one for open balances. Okay, when I actually do a migration, I always use these ones. Okay, what else? What other ideas that you might need to implement? Fixed assets if you want to actually work. What else? I have purchase orders. Okay, that's fine. Sales invoices. Okay, so different ideas that you can import basically. And with this, we are going to be able to then, let's just make one simple example. The actual configuration package is fully editable with the specific tables and fields that you want, okay? But you can use it if you are functional, if you don't understand anything about that database, SQL, what is the specific requirements for technology, right? Don't worry, everything will be done through Excel. And let's just make an idea, more complex items. I'm going to create a new template from scratch. And this new window is going to appear. Configure now your package that you want to import. No problem. Let's just give first a name. This will be products. Let's say I'm in a supermarket, okay? Fresh products, okay? Fresh products. And this will be supermarket. This is the package name, products, fruits, and veggies. Okay, only that. Now, after you have created your first code, sorry for this. Let me just edit it. There it goes. Okay, I have created a code for my package. This is a fresh pot and supermarket. Okay, this will be only for fruits and vegetables. Now, the only field that we're going to need is just system, is just product version, let's say 2023. And very important, guys, your language, okay? Every functional environment for Business Central has different languages. You will need to use the one that you use with Windows, at least in your country, because, for instance, if I use in Latin America, we use Spanish, and we write numbers and dates with one specific format. Then if I use English, numbers would have commas or dots, right, with different type of formats, and I don't want to then mix millions with thousands or decimal places, okay? So in my instance, I strongly recommend use the one that you use within Windows, within Business Central, okay? And then here I can see that it has, well, something to do like with your region, in this case, in your own country, your language as well has something to do with your time zone or geographical area, how things are written, okay? And we need that specifically when we import numbers or dates, okay? So verify that and include it here. Nothing else I have to do. This is basically the way of naming the package that I want to import. So this has got to do with items. Then in the following section here, I have the table ID. And what is a table? For those of you that have never actually worked within databases, is a repository that I have. We have databases in the cloud, in this instance at least, where I have my records, okay? And that is called a database. Now, the database has different tables. Let me just show you this. So the structure of a database is, and the idea of the database is, it contains all the information of our company. What type of information? Well, let's see here. Currencies, languages, what else? GL accounts, at least for my company. Look, where are my vendors, okay? And these are what we call tables, basically. So if I want to look for items, let's just search for a table that is related to items. And it happens that all our tables have a number. This is the number 27. Look for it, like I have just done here. If you don't find whatever you need, why not to come here? We have a searching function. Let's say this will be a unit of measures because I know that I need them, okay? So a unit of measurements, okay, so to speak. Oh, I know that I need to import a new unit of measure. Maybe I have have created a contract with a new carrier because I will be sending shipments, okay, to FedEx, okay, or whatever. But they have different boxes with different sizes or things like that. Okay, if I want to do that, let's just work and import new unit of measures, complete my unit of measures, and then later I will be able to import my items. Okay, that will be the general idea. So how then we do so? No problem. The idea here is that first we just need to select any table desired to be imported or edited or deleted even with this tool. This helps us to actually do everything. So I'm going to select the 27 item table, and this has then just been the inputted here in this section, okay? With this, sometimes this is going to ask you, hey, you know, I have to explain you something. It's not only about the information about products, but I also have additional information that whenever you create products, we need to as well take information from other tables. Do you want to check them? Of course. Okay, and this is telling me that because I have advanced warehouse in this company, by the way, I forgot to mention, it depends on the type of configurations that you have. It just told me you are going to need a put away unit of measure if you want to work with advanced warehouse processes. Okay, so I strongly recommend in this case for your package to include this specific field that actually comes from other table, and as well has got something to do with the unit of measure code. Let me just explain this just to do one exercise. We have this idea of relationships. Whenever you want to create an item, Business Central is going to help us to be aware and to be sure that we import the correct data for items, at least now that we are checking this, but the correct unit of measure must exist. So just in case you want to verify, you can look for your own unit of measure first. Okay, just verify that whatever you're going to import contains one of these units of measures. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to import them. So try to follow then this idea of specific data that every company requires. Nothing else. Once we have this catalog, and even I could create now an additional like 24Ks because, or what could be good for a yeah, I want to create apples. I want to import bananas. I will, right? So why not to include then I have pieces, that's fine, because I want to import, but I'm gonna need kilograms for bananas or apples or whatever. So that's fine. But what if you want to sell the unit? Okay, each is fine, right? But what happens if my fruit already comes in a tray? Okay, but is that going to be processed? Do you purchase that? How you want to include, how you want to create your items, okay? Packs and things like that, okay? So everything for me at least talking about the fresh products is okay because I want to import kilograms or grams even. I don't know. Yeah, could be happening. Okay, let's say small like grapes or something that is quite more expensive. So that's the idea. I want to see the correct information so an item is fully usable. Okay, so these are fields that I need, and Business Central tells you what is required here, and because everything is done automatically for us, is going to add this information. Don't worry, you don't have to come and verify other tables. Just indicate what you want to import. Business Central is then correlate to other tables, the necessary or mandatory information to make it usable. And then I'm going to click on close. If you don't want it, just basically uncheck this specific field. Okay, whatever happens with your own importing procedure when you design is because Business Central is going to review well what type of configurations you have it here, and then well it has told me you have WMS. I'm going to need this specific field, and yes, I'm going to leave it included, no problem. Let's just then close this, and voila, nothing else to do. Okay, so the thing, even though with all this explanation, believe me, this was just created in a couple of minutes, just my codes, my description of what table I want to import, nothing else. So let's explore a little bit this tool, because basically the idea is to use this function, export and export from Excel. So before doing that specific exercise, I want to understand this. This is telling me you have currently 161 records, and you can click on that already. Let's say that, okay, I have 161 items. And then this is going to open my actual items. So you can verify additional information when needed according to the type of item that you have. I was speaking about these fresh fruits or fresh items. Okay, so let's just verify. This is the upper red. Just to check, my items have, let me just, okay. Yeah, the number, the description. This is a category called fruits. The unit of measure is kilograms. Okay. So the idea is that you can go back and forth while you design your package to verify what type of information you currently have in these instances, okay? And how many records you have currently in your database. Verify the information that you need to actually import. Sorry, and that's it. But that's it on my database. That's it in my data center. That's already imported in my company, or somebody else created these 144 items. But here in this specific package or temporary or interim table, let's say I have currently 0 information. Okay, so currently this is empty, even though my company was 165 items. The others would be for the fields. Number of fields, 144. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of information just to create an item. I need to validate that information. If you need it, let's just come here to the table option, from where we can just go and see the database data or package data. So there are different repositories. Once again, the database, very important, is where your company information is. In this case, all my art items that I can see here, 161 are in my database. And the package data is the Excel file that we are going to import to this specific repository, okay? So it's a temporary database that we need to import to this place, to my package first. I'm going to do now the exercise to fully understand the concept, but it's just a temporary repository to validate my information, because before I move it to the real database, okay? So once again, I'm going to explain that concept when I do the exercise, but for now, I want to check the fields, okay? Let's just click here on this option. To verify, it told me that I have 144 fields to create an item, which is not necessarily true, okay? So I can see different fields like the number, the description, and others, right? So now that I have explained the items idea, what type of fields it has, I'm not gonna go through all of them. But the idea here is that it has so many different type of records because an item could include, let me just give you another example, replenishing. And yes, I have replenishment in this company, but if you don't have it, I don't need to input a reorder point. It will be useless. Okay. What else? And in my company, I would like to use the unit volume because I have WMS, I have capacity. I cannot just basically put away any given item. And if it's huge, Business Central must tell me you cannot actually stock this item in this specific bin. That's why sometimes I need, well, additional information, tariff number if you are importing items. So you see, there are plenty of different fields related to additional information. It depends on what you are doing here. We are just learning, don't worry, we are just checking all of this. Coming to this is actually the most difficult information to import. That's why I'm bringing this example for now. To see how many fields we have, not all of them are useful, okay? So what I would do normally whenever I want to import something is clear the included fields. With this, well, all these check marks will be available for me just to select whatever I need to import. Okay, so once again, if you want, you can include all of them, which is not normally done, or unless you actually know what you're doing. This will be happening for me when I just do something with other Business Central instance. But if not, well, I would clear, well, all the fields just for me to select the ones that I need. So let's just go, I need the number, which is defaulted and included automatically. Look at this check mark, already is check mark, but then I would like to add the description. Hey, would you like to use additional descriptions? Are your items very long? They have a long description? Could be. So why not to add a second field for description when necessary, or search description, okay? So it's up to you. Then I, of course, need a unit of measure. This will be type, and I know this field type is for items that include inventory or service items or not inventory type of items. Okay, so I need to clarify that fresh items in my vegetables and fruits are, of course, well, inventory type of items. Okay, so well, let me just add another ones that I know that I will be using, like the unit price, the unit cost. What else? The costing method that I explained that will be FIFO. And basically that, okay? Actually, I don't need all of them. These are just very basic fields, similar to what we will be doing with a template, okay? But this has additional information like if I want to work within the replenishing module, and if you have it enabled or if you want to implement it, well, you're going to need information like what is the vendor number for this item? What is the lead calculation time for me when I purchase to receive the item? What is the reorder point if you want to use levels, maximum and minimum level? Here is the maximum inventory. Let's just include it just to have an example, even though, well, it depends a lot of what type of information. If you have budgets, okay, if you want to use budgets, when you create the item, immediately can be budgeted without issue, so you don't have to run into different configurations later. Okay, picture, if you want to import it, that's plausible as well to import it, right? Other ideas, the tax group code, well, basically that, all right? The idea is to be able to select any given field that you desire, and even you could create your own Excel, and let's say I want to map some of these ideas or some of these fields. What is the old and what is the new value? Maybe in your system, if you are importing from another system, the description has another name. Okay, it's not even description, but it's actually the name of product. Okay, so this is the old value, and the new value is just basically the description. Okay, so we are mapping just in case, well, you don't want to rename your Excel files. Okay, but I'm not gonna do it. That's quite more advanced. Just for now, let's do this simple instance. Just we have selected some fields, just that. And then I'm going to close this window and I have come back to my package. Now I can just basically come and export and import my data. So let's just export for now the Excel information to Excel. And this is going to extract as well the information that you have currently in your company. Let's just take a look. This is the first time I'm going to be opening this package. This, if you have thousands of items, just, well, it is going to take a little, right? And to give you an idea, when I have imported 30,000 items, it took me like 4 hours actually to complete the full task. Now that I'm experienced, right? So don't worry if you take some time to import plenty of different records. But what I want to just show you here with this is that, well, I have just created one Excel with only the fields that I actually need. But I have created, well, this Excel because I know that, well, some of the mandatory fields like this one that I will be just marking in yellow, they are super important. They are mandatory, okay? So we don't have a way of creating my own information. This is already configured in your database. The information that you nevertheless can actually create let's say from scratch, that could be completely new, that is not even validated, is the description in this instance. Okay, this is not validated. At most they have 50 characters, if I'm not mistaken. The description fields you can add, look, these descriptions, they are very long. Okay, so this is good to see. So you don't have to always think of, well, this type of a review, right? But I always, how I check this, I create a new item in Business Central and verify how many characters I can add. Because the idea that I'm now going to import this information, okay, how then I will then be adding additional items here. Well, you could do the following. This is just the information that you have in your database. I don't want to really re-import this info. So in order to do so, I would just basically delete this information from my package. Okay, nothing else to say. But I want to then now import a new item. Okay, this is going to be a Mexican fruit that I love, is Mexican apples. Okay, and this has to be Mexican apples, right? So I'm going to then just input one item number. This will be my Mexican apple, yellow. Nothing else, okay? And then this will be, you remember we have pieces, we have kilograms, but I'm gonna make an error, kilograms. Actually, in order to make this work normally or properly, I need to add the base unit of measure as kg. But, well, I just forgot it, and then I will add then the kilogram word, okay? This, well, inventory, this will be a resale as well. The unit price will be, I don't know, $1, and the costing method will be FIFO, and then the unit code will be 0.89, right? And well, look at this. The tax group code is, I don't even remember what was the tax group code that I need in my company. Review that, okay? That's the idea, that some of these fields are mandatory, they cannot be changed. You need to verify what is behind or configure back in Business Central. Okay, reorder point was just an example because I have replenishment, but if you don't use it, well, you don't have to include it, okay? So that would be the idea. I would normally try to create new items, but if I have some additional functions, like in my case, replenishment, or if you are budgeting your items, you can include those fields to immediately tell Business Central, hey, please configure this additional information as well that is related to the items, but they are for additional modules, okay? We can help you and guide you, of course, whenever you want to create a new functional template, but you now know how we are going to be important. Don't worry about the design. Always the idea is that, well, little by little, as you know, Business Central, you're going to get information about the specific fields. If with your experience you already know how to do so, well, the idea is just to verify that you can import that. Okay, just add your records and continue with this. I have done just included one new record with an error, by the way. So this would be my Mexican apple yellow. So I'm just going to save my file, okay, in my desktop actually, or in any given folder. Remember the name or rename it is up to you. This is my file that Business Central, the file name that Business Central created, okay? So I'm just need to close this and come back to my package, okay? So I just want to explain this with one example, because the idea is not to import thousands of records. That takes a while, just to mention. But with this simple example, I'm going to be able to, once I have selected my actual item, this is going to tell me, hey, I have just verified that you want to import items. This is even in red, but it's not an error. It's just to point out, this is what you are importing, man. And then I will be clicking import. No problem. So with this, then let's just go and review this idea or this concept again. I have 161 records in my current company, and currently in your package, only one record, which is the apple, okay, basically. And you can click on those numbers. Let me click on this one. And it's going to show you, before you import it to your company, well, the actual record that you are importing, okay? And then for here, I actually have seen some errors that I have. The first one is kilogram. The other one is because I committed a mistake. This word is misspelled, okay? So what happened here, whenever you want to see, you can click on show error. What is the problem with that? Because this is telling me behind the scene, first of all, whenever you import your Excel, this is going to tell you if it's valid or no. And this is currently invalid, yes. Okay, this immediately is going to tell you which records actually cannot be imported, because we need to validate that the information is correct. I don't want to import it, trash in, trash out, you know. So I'm going to click on show me the error. I don't understand. Okay, and this is telling me, okay, inventory is not a valid option for the field caption type. Okay, and here you can see in my previous window that I have a field that is called type. So whenever you see an error, the idea is that it's going to give you information about the specific field that you currently have and where is the error. So just immediately look for the actual field that is being marked and look at the actual validation error that we have. This actual keyword or this word is not an option. And this is telling me, even though it's quite small, but it's telling me here, inventory is not a valid option. Valid options are inventory, service, or not inventory. So very good. So I don't have to, you know, think a lot about what is the issue here, and then I'm going to be able to correct with the correct option that Business Central is telling me. The idea is that this is guiding you through the error, why you have an error, and in this instance only, well, the correct type of item will be just inventory with the correct characters that it requires, basically. With that, I'm just gonna, well, Business Central is going to start validating this new data that I have inputted, and apparently I still have an error. So, well, let me just click on show error. Oh, this has no data migration, okay? And let me just play around a little bit. Maybe I accidentally have, yes, kilogram like this, but why not to add an XXXXX unit of measure accidentally from Excel will be imported, and immediately, well, if you want to update something manually and it's not valid while you are correcting, right? Then this is going to tell you immediately, no, you cannot actually work with this unit of measure, doesn't even exist, it's an error, okay? So while I corrected it manually, I would then need to input a correct value. So on the fly, while you are correcting, and this might happen, okay, this is good because maybe 90% of the records will be imported, but just a few will have an error, and you have a very friendly user window where you can actually just do your corrections. Nothing else to say. Once you have your invalid information is no, in this case, then you can click on apply data. And then this is going to then be inserted in my full list of items. If I then just come back to the item catalog, will be there. And then, well, this is just a very simple example, but following up what are the important routines that Business Central has, okay? So let me see, my apple is here, Mexican apple yellow, okay? I would continue with additional processes, you know, maybe barcodes, maybe additional packages like the pallet, 6-pack, how you purchase this one, okay? How you sell the Mexican apple, right? Other processes, but here is my item. Okay, but generally speaking, what we are following up these routines is that the process is that you are going to need to actually understand which information you will be importing. If we have misspells or correct words like in the base units of measure, well, we're gonna get additional error message. So maybe you want to import kilograms, but this needs to be with the correct code kg and not kilogram or kilo like in this description. Okay, so be aware of that. Business Central is just basically going to validate that, and following just basically the routines we are just explaining. Okay, the idea or the concept is that you're going to have records to import. Here, your packages, you're going to have now the increase of the database records, okay? In this case, it now is 162. And here, I have designed my package with only 13 fields required to create an item, okay? So it's then the idea of getting then this basic design and being able to then, once you design it, to use the export import function. And last but not least, validate that your errors are okay. So this will be basically the actual import of one record using the configuration package. Okay, and this is how we create, how then we import. So sometimes it happens that, well, you know, I have created this design of this package that is super useful for me. I spent a lot of time designing it. Maybe now the warehouse clerk asked me to have this. So I will deliver now this Excel file to the warehouse clerk so he can complete the other items, and I will be in charge of import. Sometimes, let's say that you change your computer, you want to back up your actual package that you have created. So you can do so. You can export the whole package definition by just clicking here on export package. I'm going to just export any of these given packages for the first time. And this will be importing the definition, the fields required, the fields that you have designed, the tables that you have selected. Okay, and then it's going to create one type of file that is for Business Central only. This is not going to be in Excel. This is not going to be CDS or anything else, right? And the actual file is here now. The actual extension is package100.RapidStart. Okay, so whenever you want, at any given point in time, you can select this file from your computer, and maybe if you want to create a draft company, a development company, right? Basically, you are going to be able to export and import everything at once. And what I mean, for instance, with this, I can actually, I'm not going to give away today for you guys who want to export data. Okay, I have created already one specific package that has all the information that you need to create, let's say, a company, with all the information that I need. For instance, the payment terms, currency, this is for finance charges, languages, and items. Talking about items, I have already as well included everything and every single table that we need to actually create a new company. Okay, for this we would need then once again to look at how many tables I have added here. I don't know if there are 100 or more. I use this one normally for implementations, right? But for you to start, let's say, having a review of if you want to create a new company, just text me because, or if you want it, just give me, let me just add my email to you guys. So you can write me. And I could just provide this package for you so you can start analyzing what we normally do with all the fields that, well, in this example, I mean, all the tables, right? Here I added my email to this chat in Zoom. So, well, with this, I have created all the different packages in one single package, all the different tables that I would use normally to create a new company, just in case you want to have it, okay? So with this, the idea is that we are going to be able to export all of this at once. You can import it to your own Business Central. I have the same package that I have created, okay? So just send me an email just in case you want it, okay? And this will be validated for any given Business Central version available, okay? Don't worry about it. So we as well, in this case, we could copy a package. And we can, well, probably let me just click on process data before if you have issues, okay, we have sometimes other systems that have other formats in dates, so maybe with name of a date, of name of the month, name of the year, something that is just a constraint to be imported or exported. You will need to convert a date to your own format, like here. I would, if I want to import a date, let's say for open invoices, right? I would need this actual type of a format for a date, okay? And well, other definitions with numbers, with decimal places, and others. Before you import, whenever you have additional issues coming from different sources, well, there's a function that is called process data, okay? Whenever you import or create an import, after you import your information from Excel, or you import a new package, well, you would need just to click on process data, because this is going to convert the different formats, just in case we have an issue, to the actual format that we have here in Business Central. So this is going to send then some additional info, okay? Implementation process logic for table 3, this needs to be reviewed, okay? In this case, there is some information within the table number 3 in this package that needs to have a simple review. Maybe the formats are not correct. This could be dates, this could be numbers, but this is pointing out some information that you need to review in that table. Okay, so, well, basically that's the idea of the RapidStart, with just the basics, okay, to be able to understand what processes and what are the capabilities of this tool. Now, the next part, once we get into this, is to actually start importing data, because the real work comes when we have at least 100 records to import. If we talk about items, it will be thousands, right? The same for a specific data that requires, for instance, open invoices, physical inventory, okay? So just to finish, and before we go, sometimes you need to understand, well, basically what, how to create, let me reload, this is gonna take a while. Okay. Before we go, and this is not part specifically of RapidStart, but we are learning, okay? I have a new idea of importing, let's say, what could be not a master data, that is too logic. Okay, I want to import a physical inventory, okay? Or so somehow in a new handheld that I acquired, I did some adjustments to my items, okay? So how can we import it to Business Central? I have a CSV file that I can export from my handheld device. I have records of adjustments that I did, negative or positive. I want to input that in Business Central. Okay, first of all, an adjustment, and this is just an example, an adjustment here in Business Central is being done with what we call an item journal. And with this, just giving you an example, right? I would then verify what type of adjustment I want to do to any given item. This would be, let's say, positive or negative adjustment, at least for now when we talk about adjustments, okay? I need to do a negative adjustment, okay, for my, let's say, bananas, if I'm not mistaken. Here is bananas, okay? And here I have a set of different warehouses, okay, that I need to actually just to make an adjustment in the main warehouse for now, and this will be for 2 kilograms. As well, we manage different units of measures, okay? Well, only here we have kilogram or pieces. Okay, so if I actually come, and just to show, if I click on pause, this will be decreased by 2 kilograms, the actual physical inventory that I have in this main warehouse, okay? So what it happens that you would need to actually do this manually like I'm doing because, well, this can be done this way, but it happens in the real exercise if you use a handheld or if you somehow acquire a team of counters, okay? In the warehouse, there are different vendors that help us to count, and then, well, they're going to provide you with a CVS or Excel file, okay, with that current data. So in order to understand in this example, item journal, I want to use this thing, a RapidStart that Noé told me that we can use to import data, because I don't want to continue inputting negative or positive lines, right? Like in this journal we would normally have. It takes me a lot, okay? So I don't want to actually complete it manually this way. So how do I link with the RapidStart the correct table to import data here from Excel, okay? Actually, you could do 2 things, but first of all, you will need, and you can actually Control-C, click a Control-C, and immediately just, this is one way of importing data that is just being done manually, just with a few records, okay? Use Control-C within Excel, you can copy-paste your information to actually get this same, the same fields, okay? So, let me just give you one single example. If I want to copy paste this to Excel, this could be general journals, this could be for finance, or this is an item journal to make positive, negative adjustments. Control-C on your Business Central page and Control-V on this actual page. And with this, you are going to be able to input, copy paste information. I love Excel because you can, let's say, drag and drop information like this, okay? Simple as, okay? So I have created multiple records, and with this, I will just take this info from here and click Control-C or copy shortcut, and then once again, come to Business Central, and then just click on actual Control-V. Oh, I have an error when I pasted, sorry. Okay, and continue pasting, I have an error. I don't know what is the error I committed. Okay, maybe with the document number or with the, no, actually looks fine. I don't know why it couldn't my paste. Well, I only pasted two lines. I would need to review. Oh, this is the error. Okay, this must be the same document number. So I will need to rearrange my Excel to all of the lines have the document number 6. Okay, that's fine. So I can copy paste. But this is not exactly RapidStart. This is just a workaround. Okay. Because you have integration with Excel, so to speak. But here, normally, what I would need to have, what is the name of this table where I have inputted these 3 lines? Please go to your gear icons, that is called settings. Then click on help and support. And this window is going to open help and support window. From here, we can do plenty of things like, hey, what is my version of Business Central? You can see it here, just in case, just as a bonus, right? Look for that. You can see maybe my email, okay? Or if you want us, we can add it to you so you can contact us directly. And send us an email whenever you have an issue, or if you know your consultant, that's going to be fine. But your consultant could be just basically here, okay? But in this case, what I want to do is verify the name of the table, because I will be creating a package to import adjustments, and click on Inspect Pages and Data, just to finish. Inspect Pages and Data. If you click on this actual area, well, basically, Business Central is going to tell you if you want to import from Excel records to this table, then please look and create a package using the table number 83. With this, well, you can start creating your own packages for the first time. This is a good example I recommend you to do, because just to make simple exercises with few fields that you might be using, which is entry type negative or positive, a document number, the item number, the location code, the quantity, and the unit of measure. Okay, with these simple fields, you can train yourself to create a new package using the table 83. Okay, so go within the help, that will be the idea, and then do an inspection of what table is being used by this specific item journal, then to actually save your information into one specific table of your own database. And this is the table that then the packages uses, okay? And the same will be, let me just give you another example for you to verify. Bank accounts, chart of accounts, okay? This is the chart of accounts. And if I click on any given GL account, checking account in my example, I can see the GL account card. What is the table of these specific chart of accounts records? Let's just click on help and support, inspect pages and data, right? And with this, well, you need, if you want to import different GL accounts, create a package with GL account number 15. Okay, so that's just basically the overview of the process, how to from scratch create a package and then verify your information to import whatever you need. All right, but let's just start, so to speak, with the basics. Okay, let's just provide some new items, new vendors, new customers, right? And for others like systems and well, things like that. Well, this tool is only for administrators, actually. This tool is only for you, our customers. We need to have a review of what Business Central has. But in the end, operationally speaking, well, not everybody can touch this, of course, because we don't want to mess around with our own data, right? This is super critical for us to use, but we need to take care of how and what we import, basically, right? And nothing else. So please let me know if you have further questions, or if you want maybe additionally, apart from this webinar, we can speak about if you want to import some new instances of packages for you. You want to discuss, you can send me questions as well right away here, or to my email whenever it's needed, just in case something goes wrong. Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Actually, we have discussions on